Before the world starts spinning fast, I pause and take my stand. Coffee in hand, I lace up truth with heaven's battle plan. No fear, no doubt, I suit up strong, is all the fit's just right. I'm walking tall, I'm prayed up now, I'm ready for the fight. Wrap me in truth, no lies allowed, I'll walk this road with my head unbowed. No fake disguise, no twisted words, just gospel truth, pure and undisturbed. Armor of God, my morning song, it is mine, I move along. Shield of faith and sword in hand, it is armor, I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory is mine, I won't retreat. Guard my heart, Lord, keep it clean, your righteousness, my daily sheen. No shame, no guilt, no hidden stain, I wear your grace like a holy chain. Armor of God, my morning song, it is mine, I move along. Shield of faith and sword in hand, it is armor, I firmly stand. Truth on the ways, peace on my feet, victory is mine, I won't retreat. Blue slates tied with peace I bring, good news echoes when I sing. I step with calm through storm and flame, each stride I take I lift your name. Armor of God, my morning song, it is mine, I move along. Shield of faith and sword in hand, it is armor, I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory's mine, I won't retreat. Mind renewed, no fear inside, salvation's crown, my holy God. Thoughts aligned with heaven's view, I see the world through what is true. Armor of God, my morning song, it is mine, I move along. Shield of faith and sword in hand, it is armor, I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory's mine, I won't retreat. Word in hand, I speak with fire, sharper than steel, it lifts me high. No weapon formed can take me down. I fight with faith, I wear the crown. Armor of God, my morning song, it is mine, I move along. Shield of faith and sword in hand, it is armor, I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory's mine, I won't retreat. So here I stand, the day begun, armored up till setting sun. With every breath I walk his way, in truth and love I face the day.
Unbelievable.
Here I am
I
talking.
can hear you.
Okay, I was talking away and I wasn't going across the airwave. So anyway, let me start over. I'm going to first real quick. We got ESAD with us today and Lady Molly. I am going to play a quick video clip here. It's Joe Kent at a congressional hearing on terrorism. Some very alarming information that he put out there, and then we'll have a discussion. I also have some notes and some statistics to go over with everybody, and we'll discuss this as we go. So basically, the topic today is that we have 18,000 terrorists, at least that they know of, and then there are others that came through that they don't even know where they are. So with that said, let's listen to Joe. Here we go.
We've made significant progress under President Trump's leadership. We have the jihadis of ISIS and al-Qaeda on the run in Iraq and Syria, thanks to the decisive action and the strikes that we've taken there recently since President Trump took office in January. However, we have a persistent threat from the individuals that were allowed into this country by the previous administration. The number one threat that we have right now, in my view, is the fact that we don't know who came into our country in the last 4 years of Biden's open borders. What we have identified is alarming, and I want to share that with you today. We just recently put out a warning of the heightened risk of terrorist attacks posed to the homeland by terrorists pretty much of all stripes, but in particular from ISIS and from al-Qaeda. NCTC has been crunching the numbers and going through the sheer volume of known and suspected terrorists that are in the country that came in under the Biden administration. So far, NCTC has identified around 18,000 known and suspected terrorists that the Biden administration let come into our country. These are individuals who, under normal circumstances, would never be allowed to enter our country because of their ties to jihadi groups like ISIS and al-Qaeda. Yet the Biden administration not only let them into the country, and in many cases facilitated their entry into the country, just like the entry of the Afghan terrorists who committed the terrorist attack here just before Thanksgiving, killing one of our National Guard members and wounding another. That Afghan was brought into the country as a group of over 100,000 Afghans who were brought here during the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. These individuals, despite what has been reported, were not vetted properly to come into the United States. The individual terrorist who committed the attack in D.C., he was vetted to serve as a soldier in Afghanistan. The Biden administration essentially used his tactical level vetting as a ruse to bring him here and to bring him into our communities, and we've seen the tragic results of that. Now, that Afghan, that attacker, that terrorist, is just one of 88,000. We've identified 2,000 of that group of 88,000 who have ties to terrorist organizations. We're working right now hand in hand with DHS and with the FBI to run down this 2,000, the Afghans who came here under Allies Welcome who have ties to terrorist organizations, and additionally the other 16,000 individuals with ties to terrorist organizations that Biden let into our country. That is probably the top terrorist threat that we face right now, and that doesn't include the individuals who came here illegally through the open border. That number, alarmingly, remains unknown at this time. We're trying to figure out who those individuals are as well.
Nope.
Nope.
So, all right. Did either of you see the Joe Kent video prior to today, where he talked about the 18,000 terrorists? No. Okay.
No.
What I might do here, and then just for the sake of us here, I am going to see if I can share the video through Zoom again. It's not very long. Let's see if I can do a share here on this so that you guys are all on the same page with me. Now I've got to see if I can do let's see if I can do an advanced here and do a video file. Okay, and I'm trying to see if it will let me actually find it. Okay, so let's go to here. Sorry, everybody. I'm doing it. I didn't have this figured out in advance on how I was going to share it. I totally forgot how Zoom works. as far as sharing things. So anyway, I have it right here, and we'll go ahead and play it. Here we go.
We've made significant progress under President Trump's leadership. We have the jihadis of ISIS and al-Qaeda on the run in Iraq and Syria, thanks to the decisive action and the strikes that we've taken there recently since President Trump took office in January. However, we have a persistent threat from the individuals that were allowed into this country by the previous administration. The number one threat that we have right now, in my view, is the fact that we don't know who came into our country in the last 4 years of Biden's open borders. What we have identified is alarming, and I want to share that with you today. We just recently put out a warning of the heightened risk of terrorist attacks posed to the homeland by terrorists pretty much of all stripes, but in particular from ISIS and from al-Qaeda. NCTC has been crunching the numbers and going through the sheer volume of known and suspected terrorists that are in the country that came in under the Biden administration. So far, NCTC has identified around 18,000 known and suspected terrorists that the Biden administration let come into our country. These are individuals who under normal circumstances would never be allowed to enter our country because of their ties to jihadi groups like ISIS and al-Qaeda. Yet the Biden administration not only let them into the country, and in many cases facilitated their entry into the country, just like the entry of the Afghan terrorists who committed the terrorist attack here just before Thanksgiving, killing one of our National Guard members and wounding another. That Afghan was brought into the country as a group of over 100,000 Afghans who were brought here during the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. These individuals, despite what has been reported, were not vetted properly to come into the United States. The individual terrorist who committed the attack in D.C., he was vetted to serve as a soldier in Afghanistan. The Biden administration essentially used his tactical level vetting as a ruse to bring him here and to bring him into our communities, and we've seen the tragic results of that. Now, that Afghan, that attacker, that terrorist, is just one of 88,000. We've identified 2,000 of that group of 88,000 who have ties to terrorist organizations. We're working right now hand in hand with DHS and with the FBI to run down this 2,000, the Afghans who came here under Allies Welcome who have ties to terrorist organizations, and additionally the other 16,000 individuals with ties to terrorist organizations that Biden let into our country. That is probably the top terrorist threat that we face right now, and that doesn't include the individuals who came here illegally through the open border. That number, alarmingly, remains unknown at this time. We're trying to figure out who those individuals are as well.
Okay.
$18,000, Mr. Reed?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to stop the share now. Alt S.
I don't know, but I'm gonna need more ammo. I only got about 10,000 rounds.
There we go. Okay. I gotta put the desktop audio back on here because, well, I think if there's anybody out, I don't think we have anybody out there watching right now, so I can't tell if our audio is coming through. So give me one moment. I'm just gonna check something really quick, guys, and
I hear you.
it'll just take me a second.
She can't hear me.
I hear you.
What's that?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that right now. Yeah, so I can't tell.
Hey,
Okay, yep, it's
I
going
have
through
Rumble.
okay.
do you
I have
know?
Rumble on.
Okay.
The-
All right. So,
the-
based off of what we heard, the main number that we heard there was 16,000 that are in the United States. The 88,000 that he was talking about, out of that group of 88,000, 2,000 of them were let in when they shut down Bagram with that air base in Afghanistan when they gave it over to the Taliban. So there were 2,000 people that were unvetted that got on those planes and came to the United States. Okay, but including for the total that they have, it was 18,000 that are in the United States. So this morning, just so you guys know, and the reason that I wanted to take and do this and talk about it. Number one, because this is going to be this will be a topic that all three of us can actually have a good roundtable in. But before we get into it, I wanted to kind of let you guys know why I came to this and why I thought this would be something good for us to talk about today. So I was in a dead sleep this morning, and I had this epiphany that, because I had listened to Joe Kent talk, and then I watched some clips with Sarah Adams when she was on with Sean Ryan, and they were also talking about the same thing. Sean Ryan was unaware that there were that many in the United States. He's aware now. But what I was thinking is, if we all remember a couple years back, do you remember in California when we caught the video of the Kiowas and the Black Hawk helicopters that went over that one location in California? They dropped off the troops. It supposedly had something to do with like a biological threat that was in that building that they went and got. But what I've been on Telegram, and I'm signed up on a couple of channels on Telegram where I do get, this is more or less information that I get that's off the streets. And there have, over the past months, a lot of people have been reporting, and this is not just in the big cities, it's even in rural areas, that they're seeing Black Hawk and other military type helicopters, and most of them, from what they can tell, are unmarked. So they're seeing these things a lot of times at night. So while ICE is out doing its thing and distracting all of those people that are following them all over the place, I think they're distracting them from another behind-the-scenes operation that's going on where they're actually nabbing the pretty bad people. And if you remember, Kash Patel has been coming out and talking recently about how many people that they've apprehended and how many people that either they've got sitting in the prison or that they've already deported out of the United States. They don't go into big specifics about the terrorist organization people, like from ISIS or Al Qaeda or any of them. But what they are talking about mainly, and I think they're referring to them to take the light off of the more dangerous ones, which would be these jihadi terrorists coming from the Middle East, that I think they feel that they pose a bigger problem. So they're taking the light off of them. They're not highlighting them in the news. They're not talking about it. But that's why Sarah and Sean and a few other people that I've seen are complaining that, hey, there's nothing, they're not doing anything. What's going on? And I think it is happening. We're just not being allowed to see it. We know Trump doesn't forecast what they're doing, and their military operations, they definitely don't forecast anything, and they're not going to tell anybody anything about what's actually going on. So based off of some of the numbers that I went and researched since early this morning, let me just bring this up here. So, and these numbers are compiled since January 20th of 2025, at the beginning of Trump's second administration, with Kash Patel as the FBI director. Okay, so they're talking about all the federal agencies. We're talking the FBI, the DEA, the U.S. Marshals, Customs and Border Patrol, ICE, all of them. They're all involved in this. Every department from for DHS and everything that falls under DHS and the federal are all included in this. So on the Customs and Border Patrol, the illegal immigration part of it, and the ICE related arrests, 393,000 arrests of non-citizens since January 21st of 2025 until this past January 31st. 58% of them were criminal aliens and that were facing charges or convictions here in the United States. 154,000 of them were administrative or civil immigration only. Those would be the nonviolent. Okay, so now they're saying here, combined with Customs and Border Patrol and other federal agencies, hundreds of thousands more. There are estimates of like 595,000 through December of 2025. The DHS wide removals, that's Customs and Border Patrol, ICE, and their subsidiaries. That's the 595,000. And then right around 675,000 as of January 31st, 2.2 million self-deported. Okay, and then under cartel and gang related, 7,000 gang members were arrested by ICE and DHS. These cartel ops involve thousands more via joint actions, which includes some of our military, but they're not talking about those so much because I think it will lead them over to what we're going to talk about next, is with the known suspected terrorists, the KSTs. ICE arrested 1,416 of them, and they removed 1,392, many with prior illegal entry or ties to terrorist organizations like ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, or other designated cartels gangs. Now, before we get into talk about this here, they've also included in here missing children that were rescued. And now, again, these numbers are up to January 31st of this year from the start of Trump's second administration, where they located and saved 134,000 unaccompanied migrant children that have been quote unquote lost. These are the ones that came across the border and were either unaccompanied or were taken from the coyotes that were bringing them across. These were also children that were exploited under the prior administration, of which many of them were placed with traffickers, smugglers, and sponsors, supposedly through, like your Social Security offices and stuff in certain places. And that includes rescues from sex and labor trafficking networks. And then there were additional targeted ops. The DOJ's Operation Relentless Justice located another 205. All right, so let's see here. There were another 205 child victims, and they arrested 293 offenders to add on to that 134, but that doesn't include the most recent stuff with Minneapolis, where there are about 3,300. Okay, so comments, you guys. Let's talk about the terrorist organizations and that. ESAD, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I think. And this is how I think it's going to go down. It's going to go down one of two ways. A, which is what I suspect most. At the right time, on the date, all across this nation, those little bastards are going to walk out of their house and they're just going to start popping Americans. And it's not going to stop until somebody takes them down, whether it be one of us, our law, military, whatever. Now, the second option, you do have your little groups. They'll go into like a Sears Town Mall or something like that and just start opening up on everybody. The big danger for us is the lone wolves, because as they get their asses kicked, they're going to start to run. Where are they going to go? They're looking for a place to hide. That's your house, my house, Molly's, or anybody else they can get to. And this is where I think this is headed. Now, you just informed me I need 8,000 more rounds of ammunition. I got 10, but I need another 8,000. So, yeah, it's going to get hairy and scary out here, buddy.
Yep. And to add on to what you just said about how their little groups are going to work, if we think back on what happened in Mumbai a few years ago, where they sent out groups and they went they were going into hotels, they were going into restaurants, and they did it all at the same time. So it was happening in probably half a dozen, if not more, places throughout Mumbai at the same time. So it hindered the emergency people from being able to respond. And so on top of that, that's where we come in. If things like this are going down and the police and emergency, military, or whoever aren't able to respond to that, that's where we come in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I do believe that day is coming very soon. If we start in Iraq right now, within 72 hours, it's going to pop off here. I know right now.
I think Iran is a catalyst here. That because see,
It
we
is
all know
catalyst.
the biblical thing is they wanted to use Iran to actually start what it, the whole Armageddon, in which a lot of people refer to as World War III. But the whole reason that we're there right now is to neutralize Iran so they can't do that. But
Yep.
that being said, that could be the activation that's needed
That
by
is exactly what
these terrorists here in the United States.
No, you're on target. That's how it's going to go down, right there.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. You and I have been around that stuff enough to know.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, we've been trying to get people to arm up for years. They're going to really wish the hell they'd done it now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for a lot of them, it's too late. So, and that's another thing, you ask yourself, where did these terrorists get these weapons? I bet I know.
They're from what I understand, they're all going to be American weapons that they're going to have here.
They got them. I guarantee you the Biden administration made sure they had them.
Yeah.
Found, remember, warehouses filled with M14s and ammo in a residential area. That's not military.
Remember when Obama was president in his second term and we had a shortage on ammo and copper and lead?
Yeah.
Why do you think that was? See, the government was hoarding ammunition back then.
Yeah, well, I make my own, so I don't need them. Hell, listen, my pistol will punch a level 4 vest. 500 Magnum, 800 grain, with a tungsten rod in the center of it, and a load so hot that if you were to put more than 200 or 300 through it, you probably blow the breech. So yeah, everything I have is designed to take you down permanently. I'm not going to do it any other way. I'm not taking prisoners.
No, can't afford to.
No.
So what are you thinking, Molly? Is this a revelation for you, or were you pretty aware of this 18,000 number?
I was aware that there were quite a whole bunch of them. I had been on different podcasts and listening to them this whole year, but I have to inject this. Sheila Holmes on Jaco, day before yesterday, had a video of a airport in California, and I'm not sure which one it was, but it was 3:00 in the morning. They had over 3,000 immigrants self-deporting themselves out that night. They were all in lines. They were very quiet, and they were going home. So that is going to help too.
All right. Okay, so we got about 10 minutes. I can't believe how quick the time is going. So we're in about in a few minutes. I'm going to end the meeting and start it back up, and you guys can pop in. I'll run an intermission here. But on what Molly was saying, that with the self-deportations, there have been 2.2 million people that have already self-deported. They took the money and went home. I believe that the coercion wasn't just the money. I think they were given a choice and I'm 100% positive they were given the choice. They either take the money and go back home and try to make a life back home, or they're going to spend the rest of their days in prison here, and then
Well,
they'll get deported. And then they'll get deported anyway. So
they were also told that if they self-deported themselves, then they had a chance to come back the right way through the front door.
right.
If they had to be deported, they would never be able to come back.
So now my concern, and when I was looking at the numbers, and I even went into AI and tried to have AI do some scrubbing for me to see if there was any mention of any military operations that would be going on that were known about, or like even government, where they were going in and taking down the most violent, because they said in Chicago that's what they did, is they arrested the most violent cartel members during that time, but there was never been any mention about these the terrorists that are here from, like, the jihadis. Okay, I think, like I mentioned, I think that that's being purposely kept quiet because we know that most of these people are working in cells and waiting to be activated. And I think a good chunk of those people are also ones that came over from Afghanistan that they were basically undocumented and they were never vetted. And they got here and they disappeared quietly to wherever they were supposed to go to in their cells. So that's what we're looking at now. But to top off here on what I think is going to happen, we're probably not going to get them all. That 18,000 is quite a few. But I think we're going to get a pretty good chunk of them. And even if there were 1,000 to 2,000 that they didn't get, I think 1,000 to 2,000 in cells of 6 to 12 people can still go out and do a lot of damage. And most of these people being jihadis, they're going to be wearing suicide vests, so they're not going to want to be taken. They're going to go out to do the most damage they can, and they're going to take a lot more people down with them when they go. So they're not going to go easy.
Mr. E. Hello, Mr.
Yeah, I'm
E.
here. I hear you. Go ahead.
I want to show you something. I want you to look at this. You too, Molly. You need to look at this.
They're sideways.
Do you know what you're looking at?
Is that a ham radio?
That's planetary communications right there. Now, let me give you a word of advice. Get one. You don't need to transmit on it. Matter of fact, that would be the last thing you'd ever want to do. But you will hear everything going on everywhere inside this country and all over the world. If people can get to a radio and transmit, you'll hear it. I strongly suggest you do not make that mistake. And the reason I tell you, I know how this works. I've been doing it, 30 years? And all I can tell you is it takes them 0.3 of a second to triangulate on an antenna and be within 2 inches of it. And they can do it in 0.3 of a second. As long as you don't transmit, they can't track you.
Yeah. So that particular model that you have, would any kind of ham radio work, or does it need to be that specific model?
Any kind of ham radio will work. This one is a Kenwood 570D. When it was made, it was top of the line at that time, and that was, 15 years ago. I just bought this one. It's a refurb, and it functions quite nicely. And what I did, instead of putting up an antenna, I took 175 feet of wire, and I ran that around the eaves of the house multiple times till I ran out of wire. That wire, I just stuffed that into the antenna hole, and I'm receiving off of that wire. Now, the beauty of it is they don't see that wire. They're looking for an antenna. They're not looking for that. And because of that, I'm very well hidden from them as far as that's concerned.
Is it coax cable?
Yeah, I have an antenna to use. I just don't.
But the
I
wire,
don't
that's
want.
is that coax?
No, I just use regular stranded wire, and I just stuck it in the center connector of where your PL259 goes in. So it's there. And this radio has a built-in antenna tuner. So whatever frequency you dial into, it automatically cuts it to the length so it can receive it. So yeah, this is serious shit right here. I also have some HF and UHF stuff in here that I've got digital encrypted. I mean, I've got military grade encryption on 2 of them. So yeah, I'm set up. I'm ready to go. As far as communications, I probably got, for the guys that I've got around me, I've got 15 Motorola 2-way handhelds. And when this pops off, everybody gets one.
I think what we can do is maybe schedule a live stream where we can actually talk about communications, what things that will work and things that won't. The best I got right now is a couple of CB radios. That's what I have.
Well, even a CB radio, if you have a decent way of listening, and if all you have is CB, remember this: it's 102 to 106 inches your center radian. Put a wire in the back of that thing that long, and you'll be able to receive CB radio frequencies. You won't talk, but you can hear.
Mm-hmm.
And chicken band is where I started back in my teens. And I've talked all over the world on chicken band. Hell, I've talked to China, I've talked to Russia, I've talked to Japan. So it can be done.
Just making sure you're okay.
Yeah, baby, I'm good.
In about 20 minutes, I'll jump in the shower at 10. Get dressed.
All right. So anyway.
Okay, real quick, just to remind you, we're getting real close to our first intermission here. I think we got probably about 3 or 4 minutes left here, and then we'll take a quick intermission and then come right back.
Should we just go ahead and do it now?
Yeah, we can, because I don't know that we're going to go, like an hour and 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and hit our intermission. We'll come back. So everybody can disconnect. I'll start the next meeting time, and then reconnect using the same link that I sent you.
All right.
Use that full link. You won't have to enter the username and password in.
All right, I'll try it again.
All right. We'll see you guys back in about 5 minutes.
I'm on my way.
The night falls quiet, but my heart still calls for the touch I miss, the voice that calms it all. We were never meant to be apart this long, but love like ours keeps holding strong. I just wanna be next to you, feel the life we always knew, build a world where dreams come true. Just me and you, always us, always new. We talked of children, laughter in the hall, of morning coffee and late night calls, a home with a light in every room, where love would chase away the gloom. No war, no border, no fear can break the vow we made, the life we'll make. I'll fight through fire, I'll cross the sea, if that's what brings you here to me. I just wanna be next to you, feel the life we always knew, build a world where As the cold winter looms, no power, no light. Missiles rain down in the dead of night. In the city under siege, chaos reigns. Children cry through shattered frame. Yeah. It's no shoot to die. It's due to die. Through the smoke, a whisper calls, a promise echoing through crumbling walls. It's no shoot to die. It's due to die. Through the thunder, through the flame, we rise again, we stake our claim. Hearts unbroken, voices free. This is the fight for you and me. It's no shoot to die. It's due to God. Silence wail, the streets run red. Hope flickers where the brave once bled. No turning back, no time to flee. We march for love, for destiny. Yes, we're shooting God. Yes, shooting God. Held my breath through endless nights. Face the fear to set things right. I won't let go, I won't retreat. This is the vow I swore to keep. Если же тебя, я жду тебя. Through the thunder, through the flame, we'll rise again to stake our claim. Hearts unbroken, voices free. This is the fight for you and me. Я слышу тебя. Я жду тебя.
Okay, we're still waiting. I don't know what's going on here. It's like my 11:30 to 12. It should be started. Yeah, it says it started. So let's see if it's a different link. Let me just copy the invitation here again, and I'll see if I can get it out to them. There we go. We'll get the link back out. I don't know if they're going to see it in Discord or not, but we'll see. All right. So Sassy says she sees me, but I don't see any. Yeah, they should come in automatically once they get the connection. I have it set up to automatically come in. I think we have to practice more with Zoom. Oh, let's see. Yep, I'm not seeing them pop in yet. They should pop up automatically. They should come right in as soon as they click the link. I see Molly's in Discord. I don't see any messages yet. All right, so let's see. While we're waiting for them to come in, I'm going to go through some more of my statistics here that I found. So we're going to do a breakdown here by each federal agency. ICE, which is the DHS lead for Interior Immigration and Enforcement and Removals. Illegal immigration arrests were 393,000 total non-citizens arrested. Out of that, cartel and gang members were approximately 700. Now that I think the number that I have right here is up to January 31st. That's where I had to do my scan. So it says 1.9% of the total includes Tren de Agua, MS-13, and Latin Kings, and these were all people that were tied to violent crimes such as murder and trafficking. Many that didn't include the drugs. The drugs were separate. So many of the cartel facilitators via HSI investigations. So the terrorists or KSTs, these are like Iranian IRGC, ISIS-K, Babar Khalsa, Al-Shabaab, and they included MS-13 and TDA, the groups of them that have the terror designations. 1,416 arrested, 1,392 removed. Okay, so that's a little bit less than the 18,000. Okay, so let's see, child rescues off of that under this would have been under DHS or actually ICE. 1,000 or 132,720 exploiting or missing children. Okay, and then the FBI under Director Kash Patel, illegal immigration arrests were 25,000 or more. Those are immigration related as of September 2025. They didn't have any numbers that went any further from that. We do have some newer numbers though, and I think those might have been admitted in. Okay, so Molly's coming in. Let me just check here real quick. 1 second. Okay, I see Molly in. We're waiting for ESAD. Molly, you can unmute. Okay, so let me just finish up on the stats here. So the terrorists, the KSTs, what they call, this is support JTTFs for screening arrests. 59 foreign intel operatives arrested. Treats designated cartels, gangs as terror threats, terrorism charges in some cases. Outcomes, many imprisoned via federal charges, which include RICO, narcotics, material support to terrorists, which would be, some of those people could also be American citizens that were actually helping out terrorist cells. It's showing that others were deported. The high-profile extraditions were like MS-13 and some of the, I would call them jihadis because I'll put them all in a group. There were some Al-Shabaab and ISIS-K and IRGC, and that was just from the FBI. Okay, the child rescues, and with this is in participation with operations like Relentless Justice, 205 victims located and rescued, and then during that time frame, 293 offenders arrested in one nationwide crackdown. Okay, under the DEA, and this is their focus was on cartels and drug trafficking. So there weren't they weren't out there actually looking for terrorists in the country. They're looking for these designated cartel members and drug traffickers. So they had thousands that were tied to Sinaloa, CJNG, key surges, 617 arrests, and Sinaloa, and that was by August of 2025. 670 arrests, CJNG by September of 2025, and combined terrorist organizations 1,300. Extraditions, there were 37 Mexican cartel nationals that were extradited into the United States. That doesn't include our one from Venezuela. So the 37 Mexican cartels were, those were people that were involved with the Sinaloa cartel. They had 29 in February of 2025, and then 26 in August of 25. And then there's been over 2,105 fentanyl-related arrests, and that was just in the first half of 2025 alone. Around that time is when there was the focus on the boats, and we know how many were being taken out then. The only problem that I saw with the boats is we didn't know who the receivers were going to be. So there are people working within the United States that were there to receive those drugs and then get them on their way out to spread out. Terrorist cells, they didn't have any numbers for that section. ATF, and this is all in relation to firearms trafficking. 80% of agents reassigned to immigration support per reports. So the numbers were still up there pretty good. Thousands of suspects charged in immigration-linked cases. But they still seized 36,277 illegal firearms. And then of those, 4,359 were bound for Mexican cartels. So these were firearms that were in the United States that were on their way out to the cartels. Over 4,000 suspects charged, and many of those were immigration and gang related. Let's take a jump now down to this last section here. This is on the Joint Task Force, and this is including certain National Guard units as well. So it's supporting all categories, like 1,255 plus local partnerships, and I think that's also with local police and sheriff's departments. So just for an example, just the District of Arizona charged over 10,000 immigration crimes, cartel and gang link. Thousands more were gang and cartel arrests in other states like Florida and Minnesota and Illinois. The violent crime context, ICE-wide, I think they're looking at whole DHS-wide, 393,000 arrests. 14% of those, 54,600, had violent U.S. charges or convictions. Around 2,100 of them were homicides. 5,400 were sexual assaults. 43,000 were assault. They were either deported or removed or went to detention facilities where they're either awaiting deportation or going to a federal prison. Okay, now on the imprisoned ones, federal prison for serious cases, terrorism support, RICO, gang leadership, large-scale drug trafficking, firearms to cartels. These they don't have any numbers. Those were just some. They said that they're ongoing and will be updated after. It says ongoing and accelerated into 2026. So we still haven't got the full numbers for that yet. Okay, I'm just gonna look on Discord quick. I don't have any messages from ESAD. I don't know if he's gonna make it back in or not. Let me just go look and see if there's anybody waiting in the lobby to come in yet. I don't see. Scheduler hub. Yeah, I don't see anybody waiting in the lobby. Okay, Molly, what are your thoughts on what we just covered here? Because I don't know that we'll go too much longer. I know you have an appointment coming up here pretty soon.
No, I don't. Esau did. Esau had one.
Okay.
Um, all of those people, they're dangerous, and that bothers me. But you know what bothers me the worst? And I've not seen anything in the last year or so in the news. I don't know if it was found or not, but there was a load of fertilizer that went missing, like 60,000 pounds or
Yeah,
30,000
I
pounds.
think it was like either 55 or 65,000 pounds of fertilizer.
Yes, and
What they would use to make like what they used in the Oklahoma City bombing.
right. And there was a place in Iraq, I think, that exploded too, and it was from fertilizer
Hmm.
about 2 years ago. But they never said whether they ever found that or not. And I tracked it around the western part of the country, and there's lots of places that it could be. But that bothers me worse than anything. It could make one big one or many small ones.
Yeah. Well, you know, something else to add on to that. I was aware of some of these other improvised devices that they can use. The one that actually scares me the most, they it's like a gel. It's a you can see through it, but it's a shaped gel with a sticky side that you can stick it on a vehicle, under a wheel well of a vehicle, so which would include buses, airplanes, all different kinds of things. So the reason I bring up airplanes because people are like, oh, how are they going to get that through? Minneapolis, if you've been to Minneapolis International Airport, about 90% of the people that work inside and outside in baggage claim are Somalis.
Yep.
Okay, so let that sink in. So they are also the same people that are putting through these suitcases full of money that are being loaded on these airplanes and eventually make their way to Al-Shabaab. So they're getting through not only customs, but they're getting through TSA. So these suitcases are somehow getting to the baggage load area underneath and sent to the correct airplane. So they're not even going through the proper channels to check baggage for aircraft.
They
So
had in Minneapolis and Chicago, they found tunnels all the way to Canada that not only were they doing the human trafficking, but that would be a route in, and there's Chinese waiting on the Canadian side of the border up there anyway. So there's tunnels all over the place that
yeah,
stuff could be
I know a couple years back, way back in the day when we were doing like drop decodes and things like that. One night we had a particularly long conversation about some tunnels coming from Canada into Maine.
That doesn't surprise me.
And we apparently had people up there that apparently, from what I understand, what we were getting is that there was if you want to call it a shootout in that particular tunnel. But that was prior to it being let out that there was the military training, the subterranean warfare training, which I have a lot of documentation on that over here, and I can make that available on Discord, and I may also make it available like through a maybe like a Google Drive that I can share out to people if we're doing shows. I can break it up into folders, and if they want stuff, they can go grab it. But yeah, so the tunnel, Mike Jaco was talking last night too. He said if you think we got all the tunnels that are coming from Mexico coming into the United States, we're far from it. These are the only tunnels that we have are the ones that that they are, that they've nabbed. There are other tunnels that they just haven't broken through yet, that they're waiting.
Yep. They had tunnels coming up in McDonald's bathrooms right on the border. And but the thing is they shipped in a lot of those shoulder type Stinger missile things. I don't know what they're called. But they brought cases of them in. And we only, I don't know how many they caught, but you just have to imagine that there's more that they didn't. They were bringing all kinds of things. They brought ballots in on Chinese ships in containers. And so who knows what else they bring in there, because there's so many boats and containers, they can't check them all.
Yeah, so here's another thing that leads up to that. Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, there's the port there. From what I understand right now, and this came from a reporter that was actually on Sean Ryan's show a couple of months ago, and she was talking about, since we closed the southern border, what they've done now to circumvent that, they have a lot of cartel members and cartel sympathizers that are working the ports in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And from what I understand, 5% or less of what comes through there is actually being checked. So they're very lackadaisical on anything coming in, any kind of products whatsoever. So I think that's also including all the precursors that are needed to make fentanyl, to make the fentanyl pills. And then we talked about the tunnels that are still below ground between between United States and Canada. There aren't very many, but there are places up there on that border where, I listened to David Paulides on a couple of his shows where there were guys that were in Canada and they were camping or hiking in an area that wasn't that far from the U.S. border, and they practically walked across the border and went to another town, went to a tavern, had a beer, and then went and hiked back up and went back to Canada. So if you can do that in these areas, these people are definitely coming across. And that's above ground. That doesn't even include the tunnels. And we also know that there's a huge influx of here comes ESAD, a huge influx of Chinese that are up in Canada right now that may be using the tunnels and possibly very well be coming across the border. The section between the west side of Montana and that little chunk of Idaho is where these people were coming across unfettered. We hear you. How are you? Glad you made it back in.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? let's make sure that everybody is unmuted.
I
Am
am
I
here.
Yeah, you're here. I hear you. You're not muted.
okay? Um, you know, some of the some of the like Discovery Channel, and for several years, I've watched shows on some of the cable channels that talk about these underground. They're big rooms, and They're big enough for several semis to fit into, and the tunnels to get to them are wide enough for two, side by side semis. Is that them telling us what they're doing without anybody going? I mean, these were made for the manufacturing people, but that would be a place to hide that stuff. And people buy rooms and buy underground shelters in those things. They're very expensive. And but they were showing storing products and stuff under the ground by some of these big companies, these big manufacturers. And I just wonder if they're showing us what they're going to do or what they're doing. And if nobody's taking care of them, I just hope the military took care of them or whoever.
Well, I'm sure that it has been looked into. I mean, I would think that the powers that be in our government that would actually be the ones that would be concerned about this would have people checking on that. You'd hope so.
I hope,
I mean, under
yeah,
Biden, I don't think it would happen, but I know under Trump, it's definitely happening.
yeah. Well, the transportation department or whatever, it was right next to a railroad terminal, and there was a truck terminal, and then they drove all the trucks underground. That's where they unloaded their stuff, their products, and then they would come out and go get some more right by a railroad terminal. So I hope they have checked those things, because I thought then, and that was like 2 years ago, I thought then that, that would be, they were huge. They were like caverns big.
The whole city underground.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they have them all over the place. Anywhere where we have either dumbs or we have the tunnels that are traversing our whole continent and continents and under the sea, which we know about already. We know they exist. We know that there's cities everywhere. I mean, even Mike Jaco was saying, "Hey, we have underwater bases in the ocean that are quite extravagant and very technical."
They had an underground city just about underneath the White House.
Yeah. Well, that I think that's what the whole ballroom thing is all about. I think that they're dismantling
So
whatever
too.
was there.
I think it's a cleanup.
Yeah.
But there was like seven stories, from what I understand, underneath and running out in all directions, tunnels.
Well, we know during Obama's reign, they were doing construction underneath the White House as well. So the story was they were putting in hardened bunkers. Now we know that it was more than that.
Yes. Well, you can go from the White House out to Arlington National Cemetery. I know that, without ever coming above ground. I know one of those tunnels goes out there because they were talking about it on TV on one of the like Discovery Channel one time.
Yeah,
Out.
there's lots of them that are coming out from underneath there. There's tunnels that connect the White House over to the Capitol building.
Yes.
All the major. I
I
mean,
think we blew that one
you
up.
can even get to the Smithsonian Institute from underground from the White House and the Cap. You can get anywhere you want in DC underground. You don't even have to come above ground.
That's right. They got those high
Did
speed
you
trains.
do you guys
underground.
Do you guys remember when we blew up that thing and the Potomac started seeping through into the streets, DC?
Oh yeah, I
Remember that?
remember. I remember.
I don't think that tunnel is there anymore.
No, it's funny because for a long time when I was on my hiatus from doing the live streaming, I was still out there doing research. Do you guys remember hearing reports of manhole covers being blown off in all the cities, mainly New York and in different cities in California, but it happened in
Yep.
Chicago, but they were blaming it on like sewer gases that were exploding
Yeah.
underneath. Yeah, nice try.
Yep.
Because
No.
if you were paying any attention to the what was that, the USCG or the UCSG, for the earthquakes,
Yeah.
and any earthquakes that are at 10 kilometers or less below ground, those were underground tunnels and or bunkers / storage areas that were being taken out.
And I think less than 6 on the Richter scale, isn't it?
Yeah,
They were not.
I think they averaged around 4 to
Yeah.
4.5.
Any place that doesn't normally have or has not normally had earthquakes, that's had earthquakes in the last 6 or 7 years, they're not natural earthquakes, I don't think, most of them.
Well, any
They're
of them that were going off in the
I don't know.
Midwest, they're blaming on the what is that fault line in the middle part of the United States?
Andreas fault.
No,
Andreas
that's not the San
Madrid.
Andreas, the one in the Midwest.
No.
Madrid.
Madrid, yeah,
Yeah.
the new Madrid, I think they called it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have a super caldera volcano popping off right now, 200 miles off the coast of Oregon, underwater. And I've been
Kilauea is
watching this
going
thing.
right now hot and heavy as well.
Kilauea is popping her top big
Yep.
time.
Well,
And
you know,
they're saying that this whole mountain range is waking up. And that's
Yeah.
not too cool because I can sit here and look at Mount McLaughlin, beautiful this time of morning. But anyway, we have not had any kind of an earthquake here.
Well,
the
But I
second,
know it's
my
coming.
advice, my advice here, and this is going to be funny in a way, it's meant to be. But if you are a Democrat and you like Gavin Newsom and you like what they're doing in California, stay
should
there.
move there
But
right away.
everybody else, get out of California and get on the other side of
Of the Cascade.
Sierras or the Cascades, because
Yep.
because with this ring of fire that's popping off right now, and if the San Andreas fault goes, there's going to be. Do you remember the movie San Andreas that had The Rock in it?
Yeah.
We could be seeing something similar to that happening in California.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The,
Absolutely.
if Yellowstone ever blows, the western part of the United States might as well kiss her butts goodbye
Yeah.
because it's big. But New Madrid had an earthquake, like the 1900s, and it wiped out the whole town, reversed the river, the Mississippi River,
Yeah.
and it was bad. There's still places that are underwater from the Mississippi River for that. Lots of them.
Well,
just wiped the
and
whole
I
thing.
think a lot of this really bad weather and natural disaster stuff that we're going to see, a lot of it's man-made because it is
Oh, yeah.
coming out that we do have like the earthquake machines. We know about HARP, and it's all that. What is that? The UHF frequency stuff that even does something with the Earth's crust, or it does something that affects the Earth's crust. They blame it on the sun, but
Schumann.
But those that are in my belief know that the sun is inside the firmament. It's not. I don't think it's 93 million miles away. I'm just saying
Uh,
that's just my belief. But we'll know when it's time to know if I was right or if I was wrong. But we'll see.
yep. Um, the well, I forgot what I was going to say. Dang it! It's hell getting old. It's bad.
Well, I think we have about 5 minutes left on this one here. So, my outro and my good day lasts about 4.5 minutes. So, any final words from Molly before we end for today?
No, just keep your head down. Watch where you are. Know who's around you and what's around you, and be sure and stay where you know you're pretty well safe. Things are going to get crazy, real crazy.
Esad, what about you?
Well, I don't say keep your head down. I say keep your head up so you see it coming. But yeah, she's on target. Keep your head on a swivel because, look, as of 2 days ago, I am now carrying 2 pistols on me and I have 2 rifles in the truck. One for the wife, one for me, and both of our level 4 armor plating. So if we're out and about and the shit starts popping off, I told her if I get hit, get out of here. Don't turn back. Get out of here. I'll keep them off of you as long as I can.
One
But
thing, one thing is watch Monkey Works. They had all kinds of planes going to Ramsden or whatever the name of it is, and
Ramsey, yeah,
Ramstein Air
and
Base.
to the
Yeah.
Middle East, and their transponders went dark Friday, Saturday, all
Yep.
of them. So
Yep.
just pay attention.
It's going to pop off any minute over there. Literally any minute.
Yeah.
And that's when we better have our shit together here. I'm just telling you straight up. If not, you have 0 chance of survival.
Food and water.
Right.
And where
All
I'm
right.
at.
So let me do my part of the outro, guys. I will if you have time, I'll meet you back on Discord as soon as I start running the outro here, and we'll go ahead and talk and figure out what we're going to do for tomorrow.
All right. Well, since right now I've got a cancer appointment here in a couple hours, so at this point I got to back out and get ready to go.
Okay.
But I'll see you this afternoon.
All right. Sounds good.
All right,
Take
guys,
care.
stay safe.
All
Be
right.
safe.
So everybody out there
Yep.
that's watching, and they pretty much covered everything that I had to say about the situational awareness. But I'm going to add on to that. It doesn't matter if you live in the big city, the suburbs, or the Boone Toolies like me. If you ain't packing, be with somebody who is, and make sure you're wearing the full armor of God. God bless everybody out there on the other
Absolutely.
side of this screen, and we will see you tomorrow.